Morning, guys. Welcome to the current affairs session, where I'll be discussing all of the important topics that are necessary for UPSC. Today, we'll be discussing 1st July's paper. Right? This is the first article that we'll be discussing. The first article says that India's Israel habit meets West Asian realities. So the editorial clearly says that India needs to change its foreign policy towards Israel and towards the West Asian realities. What is the West Asian reality? Obviously, that there's a new strong power that has come into the West Asian, that is nothing but Iran. Obviously, you have seen that there is a conflict between USA, Israel, and Iran, and there was repeated bombardment of missiles on Iran with through USA and Israel. What does that show? They thought that while everything was happening, Iran would obviously back down and we would get the upper hand. That is what Israel and USA thought. But Iran did not back down at all. Iran was very strong and Iran holded up very tightly, due to which the amount of significance that Iran gained in that area is very high. Now, we all know that India has always been supporting Israel, no matter what has happened, like the Gaza, Palestine issue, anything, everything and anything has happened. India had always supported Israel. Now, we also know that Israel and Iran both are enemies. When both are enemies, obviously we cannot support one only, because we also have the interest of others as well. Now, let us look at what the editorial is saying and how everything is going on. Right. Firstly, the editorial says that we need Israel. Right? We need Israel because of advanced technologies that we got, and also the intelligence cooperation that we got. Right? We have received intelligence cooperation, also the advanced technologies, a lot of things that we have received from Israel. But what we need to understand is that Iran, through this phenomena that has happened, has become way more powerful. Despite a repeated bombardment of missiles by USA and Israel, Iran has stood its ground. Iran said that no matter what you're going to do, I'm not going to back out. So it has withstanded all the missiles. It has also used missiles and drones, and it has now gained control of the Strait of Hormuz. You can see that Iran has become very powerful now. Right. The first thing is that Israel had helped us. Second thing is Iran had become way more powerful, and we need to focus on things that Iran has to do. Right. The third thing is that uh, there is always a disagreement between USA and no. The third thing is we are very dependent on the West Asian stability. If you actually see, when the war has happened in the what do you call USA Israel war has happened, what happened? Our economy had taken a hit, right? And our fuel prices rose. As the fuel prices rose, what happened? Inflation increased. As inflation increased, who suffered? Households have suffered. So obviously, anything that is happening in the West Asia is affecting India. So that is why we even need the cooperation of Israel and Iran both. So if in future, if something else happens like this, what would India do? India would have to negotiate with some country, and it cannot negotiate by being against a country. It can only negotiate when it can be in a balanced or neutral point of view. So that is another aspect. And the fourth aspect is that US and Israel might never agree on the same terms. US and Israel might not agree on the same terms. For example, let's take this particular war. USA said that let's maintain peace with Iran because now we cannot handle much more of the economic crisis or economic what do you call damage. But Israel is like, no, we have to keep going on because at the end of the day, we need protection. Obviously, Iran said that we are going to wipe out Israel. When Iran said something that extreme, Obviously, Israel would be scared. So Israel was like, we need a regime change. We need something that is going to change everything so that we can live peacefully. So Israel is like, let's continue the war. Let's not stop this particular war. If we stop this particular war, something might happen because we attacked Iran. We threw missiles on Iran. Now Iran might take revenge and retaliate even more stronger. So that is another issue, right? US and Israel might not agree each other always. Fifth thing is that India needs Iran. India needs Iran. Why does India need Iran? Obviously, as the Strait of Hormuz is now majorly under control of Iran, right? And there are many other countries like Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen. All of these countries, who can control? Only Iran can control. And who will be able to help us? Iran will be able to help us. And the sixth thing is that all the European countries have frowned upon Israel's action. Israel's action in the Gaza and Palestine issue. While the European countries have frowned upon those issues, it would be harder for us to negotiate if we keep supporting Israel. They would be like, if you keep supporting Israel, how will we be able to understand what you're thinking? How will your policy and our policy be aligned? Because we are against it and you are for it. So obviously there's a contradiction. When there's a contradiction, obviously we both cannot be friends. That's what Europeans might say. That is what the negotiation can happen. Right? So India has to look in all its peers because firstly, Iran we need, and Iran is becoming stronger. Israel we need because Israel has given us intelligence cooperation and also advanced technologies, but Israel's actions are also against us. So we have to be in a balanced point of view, right? The author has suggested two foreign policy methods. One is the adaptive foreign policy method, adaptive foreign policy, and second one is the architect on foreign policy. Adaptive foreign policy is nothing but adapting to the changing dynamics. Let's say now Iran has become the powerful area or the powerful country. When Iran has become the powerful country, India will adjust its own foreign policy towards Iran rather than Israel because Iran is more powerful than Israel. It would be better for us to support Iran, is what India would think. That is what is under adaptive foreign policy. When architect on foreign policy is there, it says that we need to maintain a neutral foreign policy with us taking our own independent decisions. And the author is saying that we should follow the architect on foreign policy more than the adaptive foreign policy because every time the dynamics keeps changing. As the dynamic keeps changing, we need to focus on one thing. We cannot keep shifting. If you keep shifting, there is no stability. If there is no stability, there is no growth. But if you follow the architect on foreign policy, you would be following one independent policy, meaning that you would be taking decisions without being supportive to one particular dynamic or one particular grouping. That would mean that you are always neutral. That would ensure that there is high amount of stability, there is high amount of trust factor among all of the countries. Let's say you do not support Israel, you do not support Iran, then Europe might come and say that, yeah, you are not supporting Israel, you're not supporting Iran. Maybe you are trustworthy. Then we will negotiate more. That is what those are the things that can actually happen, right? So that is what this particular editor is saying. We need to maintain a new foreign policy, right? And I think those are the keywords: architect on foreign policy, architect on foreign policy. There's something you can use it in mains. Like architect on foreign policy and adaptive foreign policy, especially when it comes to GS2 in international relations. Right? These are the keywords that you need to focus on. Right? In UPSC, I guess keywords are very important, and focusing on keywords is actually a little better because it would show what kind of thought you have and what kind of ideologies you have. Right? Second one is reimagining sovereign AI for India's strategic future. Now, this particular editorial is talking about how India does not have a frontier AI and how foreign countries are actually using the AI as a strategic reserve. Previously, AI was seen as a commercial tool. right? They saw AI as a commercial tool, just like something else, right? Now it has become a strategic tool. Why? Recently, United States directed this particular AI company, Anthropic, saying that stop the particular services that you're giving to a particular nation because they had differences. So if you actually see, they are treating it as oil or semiconductors, making it very strategic in nature. Only if you are good on our side, then we'll allow you to use the artificial intelligence that we have. USA has always been doing this. USA always does this particular thing where it takes advantage of that particular tool and ensures that everyone is following its principles. If it does not follow its principles, it will cancel the usage of that particular tool. India has always been, I mean, USA has always been doing that, and USA has done it to AI as well. Now, when USA has done it to AI, it clearly shows that artificial intelligence is no more a commercial tool. It is more strategic in nature. When it is that amount of strategic in nature, what should India do? Should India focus on building India's own AI, or should India maintain a good policy with a foreign country which has the best AI? What should India do? That is what this editorial is talking about, right? The editorial is saying how we need to change our ideology because we do not have a frontier AI. What is a frontier AI? Frontier AI is nothing but an AI or an AI technology which uses high amount of computing technologies, computing power. But we do not have any computing power. What do we have? We have AI users. We have nearly millions of AI users, but we do not have people who create frontier AI. We do not have people who create frontier AI. So what do we do? Because AI is actually helping us grow. When AI is actually helping us grow, what should we do? We should focus on AI more. But the first thing is that we do not have frontier AI. Second thing is that we have high amount of AI users. Third thing is that foreign countries are using AI as a strategic tool. When they're using that particular thing as a strategic tool, should we focus on globalization or should we focus on industrialization? Now, what is globalization? Globalization is nothing but where you connect to other countries. When you connect to other countries, that's when that is called globalization. Now, we taking use of other countries' AI is nothing but globalization. When we are saying that we need our own foreign, when we say that we need our own AI, that means we are focusing on industrial policy. Now, should we focus on globalization or should we focus on industrial policy? If we focus on globalization, then we might be at the threat, right? We might be at the threat of countries using us. If we build industrialization, then what will happen? It will take a long time, right? Because that is the reason why 5-year plans failed. Why did the 5-year plans fail? Because they did not have the global connection. As they do not have global connection, we had to bring in the liberalization, privatization, globalization reforms. Because we cannot do everything in a short term. We need to take the help of other countries. Only when we take the help of other countries, then we'll be able to develop. So what is the author saying? The author is saying that we need to follow both. We need to use the best AI to develop our economic systems. And we have to work on our industrial policy by creating a frontier AI, creating more space for people to create AI, right? And the reason why we cannot depend on the frontier AI is because we are investing 0.6% of GDP for research and development. Whereas companies like OpenAI are investing nearly $50 billion every year just for that computing technology. Are we in a position to invest $50 billion in a computing technology? No. When we are not in a position to invest $50 billion in a computing technology, we should not let go of the globalization. We have to focus on globalization while also focusing on industrial policy. It is a gradual development. Development only happens in the long term. Development does not happen in the short term. So the author is saying that we have to focus on both by focusing or using or the best AI to create or increase the economic system, and then gradually create space and ecosystem for creating a frontier AI. Only then we will be able to make the best use of AI and not ensure that we are not in the back. We are going in the front. That is what this particular editorial is talking about. Yes, you can use it in GS3 when it comes to science and technology. Right, science and technology, artificial intelligence is nothing but science and technology, obviously. Then you have this particular editorial. It's talking about India and foreign, forcing students to learn at least 2 Indian languages is not ideal. Right, this editorial is talking about how the NEP 2020 or the three language policy that the National Education Policy 2020 has brought is a little worrisome, and it has some major drawbacks that uh, need to be addressed, right? And what are the things? Basically, in this particular National Education Policy 2020, they said that you need to, in the National Education Policy 2020, you need to work on three languages, right? The child will choose a foreign language, right? They can choose 2 foreign languages and they'll choose 1 Indian language, right? That is still 6th class. Till 6th class, maybe that person, that child has chosen English, then French, and then Telugu. Let's say these are the three languages that particular individual has chosen, right? While they have this opportunity to choose this particular what you call languages after 6th class, meaning that from 7th to 9th class, they have to choose 2 Indian languages, meaning that they have to remove one of the language from this. Let's say that particular person has removed French and they chose Hindi. Now, what does this say? It says that they are treating English as a foreign language and not allowing children to understand the particular foreign language. That is the first aspect. The second aspect is that while you are putting French, while you are allowing that particular child to choose French or German or Japanese, any of the languages that are there, why would that particular school invest in a school teacher when you are removing that language? What is the use? The child will obviously forget everything. Just because I read French in 6th class doesn't mean I'll remember it after discontinuing it in 6th class, and I'll remember it in 10th class. I'll not, obviously. Obviously, I'll forget it. Then what is the use of investing on a teacher when you are obviously not in letting it continue? That is the first. That is the second aspect. First aspect is that it's treating English as a foreign language, and the national education policy also says that English is very important. What if that particular student chooses to drop English? What if that particular student chooses Japanese or French just because those languages are very popular? Yeah, and they say that you have to choose 2 Indian languages. This again forcing it. As it is forcing everything, they changed due to high amount of criticism. They relaxed some of the measures. What are the measures that they've relaxed? They said that there's no need for that particular child to take 2 Indian languages. That child can only take 1 Indian language, meaning that they can still choose English and French. Now, then there is again a problem with board exams. Obviously, they said that there's no need for that third language. Let's say French is the third language. There's no need for that particular child to take French in board exams. This third language will not be tested in board exams at all. If it will not be tested in board exams, will that particular child be willing to study it with the amount of zeal he would study the other languages? No. Let's say you are studying, you are preparing for UPSC, right? And I say that CSAT will not be in the exam, but you have to prepare for the exam. Would you prepare it with whole heart? Obviously not. Students will not prepare. Why would students prepare? They'll say CSAT is very hard. Why would students invest high amount of energy if it is not being tested? So that is the other aspect that is troubling in this particular editorial. Now it's saying that how the national education policy treats English like a foreign language, and what CBSE has done in all of these aspects, and how these things are actually troublesome, right? And that is all. I guess this in this particular article says that CBSE has done some editions, and obviously we need to focus on the mother tongue, then focus on English. These are the things that are actually relevant for this particular editorial. I just wanted to discuss the editorial because there are some drawbacks with National Education Policy 2020, and I just wanted to discuss those drawbacks of NEP 2020. Other than that, I don't think there is much in this particular editorial. Okay. Next, we have Amit Shah launches new FCRA portal and EOCI cards. Is something that is important for prelims or mains as well, because at the end of the day, it is reducing the red tapeism. What is red tapeism? Red tapeism is nothing but where you have high amount of laws, rules, and regulations, and many people you have to pass through to get some recognition, right? And FCRA is nothing but a Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, where all the NGOs that are actually registered for foreign funding are under this. So using an online portal would ensure that this submission submission by many other NGOs is easier, and there is reduced red tapeism. Secondly, there is EOCI cards. EOCI cards is where there's no use of the physical EOCI card. Right? You don't have to reissue it every time. You just have to update the status of EOCI card on the online, and this would ensure that that particular EOCI card is not damaged. And not only that, it also ensures that the EOCI card is not lost. These are the advantages of something that is electronical. But when it's electronical, there is also some disadvantage. You have to submit all of your documents, and if that particular individual's documents are being leaked due to cybersecurity issues or some issues, then there is threat to privacy. Obviously, there are drawbacks and positives when it comes to something that you're using electronically. So that is all in this particular editorial. I just wanted you guys to know what FCRA portal is and what EOCI card is, and how many people are being, what do you call, benefiting. Right, there are nearly 15,000 people and 20,000 applications each year for the FCRA portal, right, and nearly 50,000 OCI members will be benefiting through the EOCI card. That is what those are the stats that are given in this particular editorial. And that is all for today's newspaper analysis. Hope you guys have learned a lot. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys in the next class.